Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 388 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our third book is called From Letters to Leaders, Leveraging Your Fraternity or Sorority Experience to Land Your Dream Job. So go and pick up that book today on Amazon. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, both of my kids were in the band during their high school experience. My son Jacob played the trumpet, my daughter Rachel played the clarinet, and she's still playing the bass guitar in the band. And I'm a big believer in this band experience in school. It's not something that I had as a kid, but after I've seen everything that my kids have gone through, I know how much it has helped them tremendously in their academics and also just in their social networks. I wanted to dedicate this particular episode to those who are ensuring that we have future musicians in school because they truly are our future. So let's talk about it with our next guest. Keep Music Alive was founded by husband and wife team Vincent James and Joanne Pierdomenico in the summer of 2014. They believe that every child deserves the opportunity to learn how to play music, and every adult needs to be reminded that it's never too late to start playing. All donations to Keep Music Alive, they're all tax deductible. They support Kids Music Day, Teach Music Week, and their year-round instrument petting zoo programs. I can't wait to talk more about this. Welcome to the show, Vincent.
Thank you, Michael. Great to be here.
Oh, listen, it's fantastic having you here talking about the benefits of music. I mean, if we don't dedicate at least one episode on the podcast to the importance of music, then what in the world are we doing? I mean,
and I'm psyched. You've got 388 and 88 in the episode number, and of course, 88, the number of keys on the piano. I don't know if you picked that intentionally, but it worked out.
It worked out very well for you today.
Yes.
So you decided on Widener University for your undergraduate experience. Tell our audience, why was Widener your choice?
Well, it's a little backstory to that, Michael, because actually I really wanted to go to school for music. All through school, I was playing trombone, piano, playing guitar, played in bands. And I told my parents I want to go to school for music. So the school I had picked out was Westchester University, which is well known for its music program. Yeah. However, my parents really wanted to steer me into what they considered a more practical choice for a college degree. And at that point, I'm like, all right, I'll look at, engineering school. So I looked at Drexel University, I looked at Widener University, and the thing that steered me towards Widener versus Drexel was that the co-op program was actually 4 years at Widener instead of 5 years at Drexel. And me wanting to get back to doing some real work and away from school, I don't know, my mentality was I want to get into the real world. You know how you are sometimes when you're in your late teens. I chose Widener. And actually, while I was at Widener, I was so excited about moving through the program as quickly as I could. I actually finished in 3 years, minus co-op. I ended up not doing the co-op. I was able to finish in 3 years and get to working.
That's a really good answer. And by the way, Westchester University is fantastic. My wife actually graduated from Westchester University in Pennsylvania. Fantastic school. I can't say enough about the students that go there. But all of that being said, I'm just wondering, like, in your mind, do you think your parents made a mistake by pushing you to Widener as opposed to pursuing your dreams at Westchester?
Well, it's a really interesting question to look back on now, Michael, at this point. I mean, I hesitate to call it, a mistake. Things happen, for a reason. I had my first two sons because of the woman that I met at Widener. Had a lot of great experiences, started a great career. It helped pay for a lot of the music activities I've done over the last, 3 decades or so. But, certainly it was a time where I was like, really? Why am I doing this? Why? And I kind of had that kind of stuck moment in my head, Michael, all these years of wanting to pursue doing something musical. But then I have this, career that pays the bills, on the side that I'm okay at, and I'm pretty good at it, but it wasn't what I really wanted to do. So I certainly learned from that experience with my parents, and I encourage my kids to follow whatever it is you want to do. It's not, it's your life. Do what you want to do. follow the career path you want to do. And incidentally, 3 out of our 4 kids went to Westchester University and graduated from, loved it. Our one daughter was in the band there, and great experience. Marched in the Macy's parade, incredible. And then our other daughter ended up going to Drexel, the one school that I didn't pick.
Yeah, and maybe everything just happens for a reason, right? I mean, if you look back on it now, you're like, well, some really good things did happen through Widener, and maybe they wouldn't have
Yep.
happened had I been at Westchester. So it's always hard to know, if you're making the right choice. But obviously, things worked out in the end, and so maybe it was all just meant to be that way.
Some sort of master plan, Michael. We'll truly never know.
We'll never know. We'll never know. Well, let's talk about your organization. You're the founder of Keep Music Alive, which is on a mission to help more kids and adults to reap the educational, therapeutic, and social benefits of playing music. Tell our audience, because I know there are some people that maybe aren't making that connection in terms of why music is so important. What are the benefits of playing music?
Well, there really are truly so many, Michael, and they're really just starting to peel back the layers of the onion, and I didn't really appreciate it until we kind of started down this path several years ago, started reading some of the research. I mean, kids, when they start to play music in their developmental ages, they actually grow a bigger pipe between the left logical and the right creative sides of the brain. It gets a little bigger, which leads to creative problem solving, thinking outside the box, just things that are applicable to so many different careers and subjects. This is why kids tend to do better in science, math, reading comprehension. Also, when you learn from your kids, playing music, it develops so many other soft skills, patience, discipline, perseverance, all things that, when you apply them to other areas of your life, things you're trying to accomplish are very important. And then there's the growing self-confidence that they get, when they finish a piece and finally successfully learn it, and then they perform it in public to the parents and families and their friends, and they have that sense of accomplishment that carries over to other areas. And then for us adults, I mean, music is, when you're playing music, you're in the moment. You're not thinking about the driver that cut you off on the road this morning, or that argument you had with somebody in the family that you got to go see them next week for the family reunion, whatever it is. You're in the moment, because you have to focus on what you're doing, and it's just very freeing, very grounding. And that's really where the therapeutic aspect, I think, comes in for adults, and can also be a very social catalyst also, because if you decide to go out and venture out and maybe play open mics, which is a very welcoming audience. I mean, nobody boos anybody at an open mic, no matter who it is, what they're doing. It's a very supportive audience, and just to be able to, gather around other musicians and play whatever it is, whether it's a cover song, original song, or read poetry, whatever. It's just very communal feeling, and it's good for us. We're social creatures, Michael. And I know I didn't appreciate that, when I was going through my college years. I think I might have mentioned to you in our communication. I did not really take advantage, of the many social opportunities at school that I should have when I was there. And only learning now later in life how important that is. And when you're involved in music, this is one of the ways you can have those experiences.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think there's no question that my kids benefited greatly from being in the band. They're brilliant, but I certainly think the band was a big part of that. And the other piece too is just that social network that they belong to. It just seems like the band kids stick together, man. Like, and when I say they stick together, I'm not just talking about 4 years in high school. I'm talking about like for life. I mean, they're making lifelong friends that they can always reach out to. And there's something unique about being in the band and the relationships that form there. I don't know what it is, but boy, oh boy, are they a tight knit group.
Yeah, yeah, it's very powerful. I mean, the shared experiences that they had going through that. I know for myself, I have friends that have lasted all that time, and it's been decades. And it's just truly important, to have those connections. A lot of times in school, if we're not an athlete, or if we're not maybe the smartest kid in school, you're not fitting in any of those groups. If you're in the band or any kind of music program, all are welcome. It doesn't matter if you're athletic, doesn't matter if you're smart, nobody cares. If you're trying to play an instrument, you're in.
I love it. That's really, really great. And you founded these two music holidays. You call them Kids Music Day and Teach Music Week. What are these holidays that you created?
Well, it's funny, Michael, way back, I guess it was at the end of 2014, early 2015, I'm thinking, there really should be a week every year where musicians everywhere, find someone to give a free lesson to. It could be a family member or a friend, uh, you know, just someone that they can get them started, on their own musical journey. And that's kind of where Teach Music Week began in March of 2015 it was. And then about a year later, we ran into a gal who was doing something called Kids Yoga Day.
Mm.
And of course, my brain was like, Kids Yoga Day. Wonder if there's a Kids Music Day. So, we did some research and there was no such thing. So we created it. So what we do with these music holidays now is we partner with now over 1,000 music schools, stores, and music organizations to offer free lessons to new students, kids, and adults for Teach Music Week. And then for Kids Music Day in October, what they do is they offer some sort of special event and promotion that benefits and celebrates kids playing music. And again, all of this is just trying to get kids excited and families excited about the importance, the benefits, and the joy of playing music. And of course, getting the media like yourselves talking about it, which helps drive more parents into those environments and thus the benefits their children will receive.
Yeah, that is a beautiful thing. One other thing that you should research, thinking about research, I believe that if you get kids hooked on music, I really, really believe at a young age that you're going to keep them, from doing things they probably should not be getting involved with. And I think that it actually will make communities safer by doing what it is that you're doing and giving the gift of music to young children. Because I just think if they're bored, that's when they're going to get into trouble. And so if you're giving them this gift of music that they can work on every day and be a part of a community, now I think you have connection. Now I think you have something productive for them to do and to work on and to improve over time and maybe even get scholarships. And I actually think you're creating safer communities. I actually believe that you can actually track in these communities where you're doing the work and look at, things like crime and other things, especially for the youth specifically is what I'm talking about there,
Yeah.
and actually watch those numbers go down. I think that there's something to that, but it's going to take some research to prove that out.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll definitely look into that. But, anytime, communities that may have a higher crime rate, when there's activities for the youth to do, whether they're sports related, arts related, something where the kids can do something other than just hanging out in the corner with their friends,
Right.
which we all know is never, we're never thinking of good things when we're there.
Right. Exactly
So
right.
getting them involved in some sort of community activity, with other kids, structured, at least to some degree is so important. You're so
Yeah.
right.
100%. And I was looking on your website. You have some really impressive people that are working with you as ambassadors for Kid Music Day. How do you get all of these ambassadors involved with the cause?
Well, you start off with one, you get one, yes. We did a bunch of research, figuring out who were the different representatives for a lot of these artists, celebrity artists, and you reach out to their manager, to their agent, to their publicist, and let them know who we are, what we're doing. And it's very interesting because in the beginning, this was all very early. We were probably the second or third year, so there wasn't that much going on yet. So we were like literally amazed and just so very grateful when some of them started to say, yes, you can use our photo, you can use our name to help promote this cause that you're doing. And then when the ball really started rolling is, when we got an email back from Julie Andrews representative, and she said yes. And we were like, first of all, oh my God,
Right.
that's that's absolutely amazing. Thank you so very much. But then it was so much easier, for the other representatives for different artists to say yes, because when you have Julie Andrews on board saying yes, you know, others will follow. So, really it was just something I like to call polite persistence. A lot of times when you're reaching out to people for anything, whether it's for interviews, for a job, for something you're trying to do with someone, sometimes you need to ask multiple times. Sometimes you need to ask in different ways, give it time in between, propose different ideas, different things, and just, polite persistence, until the other side tells you to go away and don't ever write me again. It's really okay to reach out again and just see, maybe try to start a conversation because you really don't know if they're even getting your message. Is it going in their spam folder? Is their email server blocking it completely? Maybe they saw it, they were kind of interested, got distracted. Maybe they've been on vacation. Maybe they were sick. Who knows? It's just so important to continually follow up and to see where it will lead.
That's an important message, I think, for our college students, no matter what they're trying
Yes.
to do.
Yes.
Just that polite persistence is really key because, especially when it's somebody on the other end who's extremely busy, you just have to understand that they're so easily distracted and their mind is, is all over 50 different things, and it becomes really hard to focus. And so sometimes it's just a matter of timing. It's, right time,
That's right.
right
Might not be
place.
the right time. Yep, yep. And my favorite saying, or certainly one of my favorite sayings, Michael, is silence never means no.
Right.
If you didn't hear back, it doesn't mean no. Don't create that story in your head.
Right.
You don't know what it means until
Right.
they tell you. Just
Yep.
assume it means nothing. Try again. Give it a week, 2 weeks, try again. Try
Absolutely.
another month, pitch a different story, pitch a different idea, try for a different job at the company, whatever it is. Try a different angle, the back door, the front door,
Yep,
through
that's
the
the
basement.
difference. That's the difference between people who are successful and those who unfortunately don't reach their goals. It's that persistence is really the key. The other thing that you're involved with are these instrument petting zoos, which I know exactly what that is. I think it's fantastic in the schools, but tell our audience what that is, because I want to see more of it.
So it's something we kind of stumbled on several years back. There was another nonprofit in our area that's truly huge fans of, and they offer free lessons and instruments to students in Philadelphia, which is a lot of areas don't have music programs at all. And at one point, they were doing a musical instrument petting zoo at the local aquarium. And so my wife and I volunteered for the event. I'm like, well, this is really neat. I think we kind of like to start doing this. So we kind of borrowed the idea and then expanded on it. And what we do is we take guitars, acoustic and electric, ukuleles, keyboards, and dozens of different types of percussion for kids of all ages to interact with. And we're just trying to inspire them, get them excited about wanting to play music. And it's kind of like a please touch museum for musical instruments, where they're getting to have the hands-on. So many times, as parents, we take our kids into something like, don't touch, put that down. You can't do that. Where for us, when the families walk in, please, you can touch and play absolutely anything. And we have our, teaching artists with us that will help show them how to hold the instrument, how to make the sound. And when you see the smiles and the wide eyes on the faces of the kids when they try out different instruments, it's just, like my heart just can't take it. It's just so beautiful to see that. And that you're planting these seeds, and you'll see the kids look at their mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever brought them. Hey, when can I do this? I would really love to do this. And we know that what we're doing is starting to work.
That is so cool. That's awesome to see. I've actually seen that. I've also volunteered at some of these instrument petting zoos in the past, and it's just been a blast.
Really?
I
Oh,
mean,
that's
you're absolutely
awesome.
right. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, just watching the kids and their expression when they finally hit that note, and you're like, yes, I got a lifelong fan now. It's pretty cool to watch. It's really cool.
Yes, yes, and whether it's the ukulele or the electric guitar with a little bit of distortion, or the electronic tabletop drum kit, which, by the way, Michael, if they had that electronic drum kit when I was a kid, I would have been a drummer, but my parents said, "No way, are you going to be a drummer? You're not bringing drums into the house. Too
Yeah,
loud, too much vibration."
there's a lot of options out there now to make it a little bit better for families.
Yes, absolutely.
That's so great. But the other side of it is, which is that, there are music programs that are being cut from various schools all over the country. So what should we do if that happens at our school?
Well, there are a couple different things that you can do. I mean, well, if you do have the resources, of course, there's outside of school programs, whether it's the well-known names like a School of Rock or Music and Arts or Guitar Center, and there's also thousands of mom and pop music stores and schools that offer programs where you not only learn how to play an instrument, but you can play as part of a band or part of an ensemble with an orchestra instrument. So it's kind of simulating what you would do in a school environment. And then if resources aren't available, we always encourage parents to look at different things like Facebook Marketplace, where you can usually, pick up an instrument at a discounted cost, where someone's trying to get rid of an instrument. And then look for different opportunities where you can get a free trial lesson here or there. Whether it's Teach Music, or a lot of music schools will offer a free lesson to a new student year round, just because they kind of want to give them that experience and kind of whet their appetite at it. And then also now, as you mentioned, so many options we have now available. We didn't have YouTube in our youth to find free tutorials on how to do pretty much anything you ever imagined to do, whether you're trying to fix the kitchen sink, your water heater, or learn how to play the cello. There are tutorials out there that will help get you started. Now, of course, it's usually not a replacement for having a hands-on, music teacher, with you to see, but it can definitely get you started. And if you start to just move yourself in the community of people that play music, you'll often find other people that'll help to tutor you along the way, without incurring, significant cost.
You're talking about the cost. I think that's a really important thing that we need to talk about because there are so many families out there that have children that actually do want to play instruments, but the cost for some of these instruments is so high for not only the instrument, but you also got to think about all the clothing that's needed for all the shows that the students are putting on. So, how are we going to solve this issue? Because I don't see the prices of these instruments coming down anytime soon.
I don't know that there's a grand solution for that, Michael, because you are right. Some of the ensembles or bands that you're in, they do require some sort of a uniform. I mean, not all of them. Some of them you're just able to wear what I would call street clothes, or just, a shirt and maybe, pants and maybe a tie. Uh, and the instruments, as you mentioned, they do costs do keep going up. And
Yeah.
that's where I really lean on the internet as a way to find instruments where people have an instrument in their closet that their kids played, and they're just no longer playing, and it's just sitting there, and just finding these people. And this is what we do to get many of the donations that we do, is just put messages out on the internet, Facebook Marketplace, and other similar venues where you can get people that will either donate an instrument. We've gotten instruments donated that way from somebody who was intending to sell it. And then, as far as the lessons, or I'm sorry, the uniforms, you have other fundraising ways that you can try to do, whether it's a GoFundMe. Sometimes if you put something out and say, hey, my child really wants to play, even sometimes in the chorus, sometimes there's some sort of specific uniform cost, $150, $200.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know, when I was a kid, I was like, there was no such thing like that. You just went as you were. There
Right.
was no uniform. But that is a situation nowadays sometimes. So, where you can kind of reach out and say, hey, I'm trying to fundraise for my child to be able to participate in the course. And I imagine there are other, I mean, Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts sell cookies and popcorn and all different things. I'm thinking there should be some sort of fun, national fundraising program for kids. Just kind of, you're getting my brain going, Michael. There should
Yeah.
be some sort of, national recognized way that families that want to raise funds for kids that want to participate in music programs can have easy access to this programs of selling something that people would generally be interested in buying, and supporting kids that want to be involved in music.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it is being done locally, in some communities. But yeah, if we had some kind of national way to raise money for things like these, clothing and things like that, but also to be able to get some of those instruments that are up in the attics of various homes that aren't even being used. It's just an instrument that's been passed on over time, and somebody played it, 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, and it's just up in the attic collecting dust. Well, instead of it being in the attic collecting dust, let's just donate that and make sure that it gets to, let's say, the high school band. So that way, another student who wants access to play that whatever instrument, that they have the
Yep.
ability to pass that on and pass that forward, and even to set up, maybe little collection boxes around in the community for people to actually just donate it and physically put the instrument into a box where it's held and then recycled back into the community. Something
Right.
like that is kind of what I'm thinking, and it's something that we've done locally, and it's worked out really well. But yeah, we need to figure out a way because I bet you there's a ton of instruments up in people's attics that are literally just collecting dust, and there's no reason. Give it to a kid so he can use it.
It's probably hundreds of thousands nationally. And there is a program, national program, Hungry for Music, that does just that. That goes all around. They have chapters all around the country that gather instruments. And if they need to be repaired, they get them to be repaired.
Right.
If they can't be repaired, then they get them recycled in a way that can be used in other means. And then they distribute instruments to schools and other community areas. And you can put in requests for instruments through that. And there's another organization as well, in addition to Hungry for Music, and it escapes me, but I think it's on our website as well. I have to go back and double check. But you can always contact us. I mean, if tell us what area you're in, what you're looking for, and we will connect the dots to help you try to find something that you're looking for. And that's part of what the design of Keep Music Alive was intended to be, kind of like an umbrella for how do we help get kids more opportunities to play music, whatever the obstacles might be.
Yeah. That's really great. It's awesome that you're, allowing people to contact you to try to, help connect the dots and try to get that instrument out. I think that's fantastic. And, what's, wild about my experiences, I went to a private school and my parents actually paid a lot of money. I'm talking like college tuition for me to go to elementary school. And they didn't
Some of
even
those are
have
crazy, I know.
it's wild. I look back on it now and I'm like, oh my God, how much money did you spend on me? But and eventually I went to a public high school and I did just fine. But we never had a music program in elementary school or junior high or anything. So it wasn't until I actually got to high school did I actually even know what a band was because I just had never seen one.
Didn't you
And
weren't exposed to it? I mean, you're not exposed to it. You really have no idea.
I have no idea. I wasn't exposed to it at all. It just wasn't a part of my private school education. But today, of course, my kids are really into music and they're brilliant with it. And I'm like, and I feel that I've been robbed. So,
Yeah,
is it too
you
late
you
for
were
me?
robbed, but you seem to make out all right, Michael. But yeah, you were definitely robbed.
I was robbed. I mean, I was absolutely robbed. I feel like that is a critical point when, you can really learn how to play an instrument very quickly. And certainly my kids got that benefit. But is it too late for me now as an adult to pick up an instrument?
Oh, absolutely. Like, no, Michael. I mean, I got a story for you. So several years back now, I was playing a private event, playing piano, and a fellow comes up to me, and the first thing he says, uh, "How old do you think I am?" You hate these kind of questions, and like it's, I don't know, maybe 65, 70. He's like, "I just turned 80 years old. Do you think you could teach me how to play the guitar?" I'm like, "If you're wanting to learn, sure." I
Yeah.
mean, the thing about me and guitar, Michael, is I tell people I play guitar, but not in public because I'm not very good, but I'm good enough to teach a beginner. So I said, sure. So we started teaching David. He was 80 years old. And we worked together for 5 years, developing his skills, playing different songs and singing some of his favorite songs from the 50s and 60s and some into the 70s for 5 years until the pandemic came and we had to stop. But it was an amazing experience for him. His wife would always talk about how much he really enjoyed it, how much he got out of it. When he went each year, he went down to Florida for like a couple months during the colder season. He would bring his guitar, play for his buddies. So, short answer, absolutely no. It's not too late, Michael, to ever start playing an instrument.
That makes me feel better. If an 80-year-old can pick up a brand new guitar and start playing, then it gives me hope. Because I tell you what, I mean, I'm living vicariously through my daughter. I see her up on stage playing the bass guitar, jamming out, and I'm like, oh, that
I
should have
love
been me.
that. And it still could be, a lot of the music schools, School of Rocks, and other programs have adult band classes
Oh,
where they
that's
put
so
you in a
cool.
band and you go on stage, and after a couple of months, you're playing at the local club, local bar, bring the families, I don't think they're going on tour or anything, but you're having that experience of being on stage and playing with others. And, there's nothing that compares, nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing that compares. That's the dream. I mean, I'm a speaker and I use my voice. I can't, sing a lick, not even a tune at all. But yeah, man, that's the dream is just to play the guitar up on stage in a band. I, there's nothing
Do
better
it, do it.
than that.
You
I
will,
just
you
might.
will.
I just might just to like, torment my daughter and show her that I have some musical ability.
You could, you play together,
We could
she
play
got the bass, you
together.
got the guitar, you got a drummer, you got somebody that sings, you got a little band, little
That's
combo.
right. That's right. It would be a lot of fun. It would be fun.
Yes,
All
that'd be
right.
the best part.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this. I think this is great. We do love good food here at the Fraternity Foodie Podcast, and I get over to Philly all the time. So the next time I'm in town, where should I go for a good meal?
Well, it's kind of funny, with that question, Michael. I mean, I'm not a big, restaurant eater, but I'm going to let you in on something that you may or may not have heard of. There's a hoagie shop that's literally 2 miles from my house.
All right.
It was recently awarded by the Food Network magazine the best hoagie on earth.
What? I got to
On,
try
on
that.
earth. And this is Phil and Jim's in the little town of Parkside. Literally, if you sneeze going through it, you will miss the town completely. I actually lived there for 6 years, a couple blocks behind the Dunkin' Donuts. But in that little town, it's Phil and Jim's hoagie shop, steaks, hoagies, you name it. And sometimes the wait for a sandwich is like an hour because they are literally that busy.
Wow.
Uh, and the people just keep coming and keep coming. So yeah, they were recently voted the best hoagie on earth.
That is
They're really good.
incredible.
I mean, I haven't tried all the ones on Earth, but they are really, really good.
I'm
Real
gonna have to give
legit.
that a shot. I don't know if I can wait an hour for a hoagie, but listen, if it's that good, maybe I will.
Try an off time, off busy time.
That sounds good. I'm gonna go check that out the next time I'm in Philly. I'll stop by and we'll see how good that hoagie is because I miss a good hoagie. I tell you what, I mean, that area, they know how to make a hoagie, and that's different than a sub, but it's good.
Yes.
It is very, very good. So I'll look forward to that. All right. So if our listeners, if they want to learn more about your organization, it's called Keep Music Alive, and they want to support the important work that you're doing there in order to make sure that more students get these instruments in their hands, where should they go in order to connect with you and support your organization?
Well, the best place to find us, Michael, is just keepmusicalive.org, keepmusicalive.org online. We're also on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. If you put in Keep Music Alive, we pretty much come up to the top anywhere you type us in.
That's perfect. Vincent, what can I tell you? I really appreciate all the work that you're doing to keep music alive for our children because, boy, oh boy, what a frightful world that would be if we didn't have music to look forward to. And it starts with our kids and getting them hooked early on in life. If we want to keep
Yes.
listening to music as adults, we're depending on them to make sure that they're trained and they continue and keep that music alive. So thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome, Michael. Thank you so much for having me on the Fraternity Foodie Show. I love chatting with you. This was great. I need to learn more about some of the musical activities you've been doing in your community.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, thank you so much, Vincent. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this talk with Vincent James, make sure that you like it, make sure that you share it on social media, and we'll see you on another episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.